Hey there, it's Leona. Welcome to Zen Mindfulness Shodo. Today, we're gonna practice Shodo meditation while focusing on the Hiragana character for E. So, let's begin a beautiful journey together. When you write a character, imagine a square about the size of the character that you are gonna write like this. First, I'm gonna write it. Then I'm gonna explain the points and tips for writing the character beautifully in detail. Alright, now I'm gonna explain the points and tips for writing this character beautifully. The starting point of the first stroke is a bit lower than the center point of the top left square. This stroke is a little bit leaning to the left like this. And it's curving to the left. And it moves down to the right. This stroke moves downward to the right until it's vertically centered in the square box. So, the space above the starting point and the space under the lowest point of the stroke are almost the same size. This stroke moves down until that height. Then it checks upward to the right towards the starting point of the second stroke. When you check at the end of the first stroke, it's natural to check like this because this stroke is curving to the left. But if you check like this, the space between the stroke and the check can be small. Since the stroke is going towards the starting point of the next stroke, you can check straight like this. Or you can check like this. This one checks while curving to the right or curving down like this. This might be difficult for you to say it, but it checks upward to the right while curving down. So if you check while curving like this, the space between the stroke and the check becomes bigger, and you can see the check more clearly. The whole character looks beautiful when you can see the check clearly. For example, if you don't check at the end of the first stroke at all, the whole character looks like this. Then it looks like a typed character, not a handwritten character. So try to show the check clearly, and try to make the space between the first stroke and the check wider. Move the pen in the direction of the check. And the second stroke starts from the same height as the starting point of the first stroke. For example, if the starting point of the second stroke is higher than the starting point of the first stroke, then the whole character looks like leaning to the left and not standing straight. On the other hand, for example, if the starting point of the second stroke is lower than the starting point of the first stroke, the whole character looks like this. The second stroke looks too short for the first stroke. Try to make the starting points of both strokes the same height. The second stroke is at the same angle as the first stroke. It moves downward to the right, parallel to the first stroke. For example, when the angle of the second stroke is like this and not parallel to the first stroke, it'll look like this. And if the angle of the second stroke is like this, also not parallel to the first stroke, then the whole character will look like this. Then the whole character doesn't look balanced and beautiful. So, try to make the angles of the two strokes the same like this. Then it will look more balanced and beautiful. The second stroke will look more beautiful if it gets thicker towards the bottom like this. If the thickness is the same from the starting point to the end point, the unique roundness of hiragana won't be expressed properly. So, at first, just touch the pen lightly to the paper, and then gradually increase the pressure to create a thicker line. The second stroke is a line that curves slightly to the right. Of course, not this extreme though. The end point of the stroke is a little bit higher than the lowest point of the first stroke. For example, I'll write an example here. If the end point of the second stroke is about the same height as the lowest point of the first stroke, the second stroke will look too long and won't look balanced and beautiful. So, just make sure that the end point of the second stroke is a bit higher than the lowest point of the first stroke. I recommend that you practice writing in a square box like this. When you do that, try to write the character in the center of the square. One thing is, as I said earlier, try to keep the spaces above and below the first stroke the same size. Besides that, because these two strokes are parallel to each other, the space to the left of the starting point of the first stroke and the space to the right of the end point of the second stroke the same size. Also, try to make the space to the left of the end point of the first stroke and the space to the right of the starting point of the second stroke the same size. Then the whole character is centered in the square box, and it will look more balanced and beautiful. Alright? Keep these points and tips in mind when you practice. The key points for writing hiragana characters, as explained in the video, are concisely summarized in this book in a similar manner. The book allows you 3 pages to practice each character. It can be purchased on Amazon. See the link in the description. I'm gonna practice 1 page of this workbook this time, but you're welcome to practice as much as you want. If you're practicing with a pen, I recommend that you place a few pieces of paper under the page that you're writing on, so that the ink doesn't bleed onto the page under it. Alright, let's get started. Focus all your attention on each stroke, and before you start writing, know the starting point and end point. While you're writing, focus all your attention on the curve, length, and direction of the stroke. After that, without hesitation, aim for the end point and move the pen smoothly. Try to write much slower than you normally write, putting your heart and soul into each stroke. However, if you move the pen too slowly, the line will become shaky. And if you move the pen too quickly, the lines will become thinner in areas you don't want them to be thinner. So, concentrate on finding the right speed. Once you've finished writing the character, look at the character as a whole and think about what changes you should make next to make it look even more beautiful. If you notice that you're thinking about something else while writing, immediately refocus on what you're writing. By repeating this exercise, you'll be able to notice when your attention starts to turn to something unrelated to your current action, and gradually improve your concentration and self-control. You can also build your patience with this practice. So, let's practice together. It's normal that things don't go well at first. So, instead of blaming yourself for not being able to create the strokes that you want, try praising yourself for taking on difficult challenges. On this channel, I not only share tips and points for writing Japanese characters beautifully in English and Japanese, but also practice Zen Mindfulness Shodo meditation that focuses all of our attention on the present moment. If you want to learn how to write other characters, or if you want to keep practicing Zen Mindfulness Shodo meditation with me, please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my other videos. If you liked the video, or if you thought the information was useful, please hit the like button. Also, if you share my videos with people who might be interested, it will be a good support not only for me, but also for them. Alright, let's learn and practice together again in my next video, or in my next English video. Thank you for watching.